Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So if you like edgy kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description, as well as the link to our good friends over at Critical Failures, where we're part of a live stream game there. Check us out every Wednesday nights. The episodes are then uploaded pretty regularly the next day or the day after, so you can catch up whenever you want. With all that out of the way, we're going to jump into this week's video. We're going to talk about the College of Eloquence. The College of Eloquence Bard comes to us from Mythic Odyssey of Theroes and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Tasha's, again, kind of pulled a lot of the books together, so you have almost everything in that one book. This subclass emphasizes all of the great attributes that a bard has outside of combat. Silvertongue, Unsettling Words, Unfailing Inspirations, although some of them obviously can be used in combat, it does emphasize the great manipulation that bards have with all their words and how they speak, and it really makes you effective at just being so dominant as a face. It's a very strong for adventuring, for role playing, and it does give you a bunch of abilities. Like, it gives you one or two abilities that I happen to really enjoy. Some of them you got to be a little creative with, but it does give you the availability to make it easier to land certain things that you can't with other bards. It's a little bit unique. It takes a little away from the bard running around with the lute or the violin, and it kind of sets up a sequence where you're more of a speaker. You're more of a, like, almost like a politician, kind of, where you're more negotiating and very like a noble court kind of a person. It's very cool. There's a certain, because it's a manipulation thing, there's a certain way you can always turn it into a very evil character, because some of the more evil things in the world you can do is like manipulate people and cause people to do things that obviously are in not their best benefit, and things like illusion magic and enchantment magic really fall in that category. A lot of the times, like, even I myself, until like someone kind of gave me this idea, love you Eliwick, by the way, illusion and enchantment magic is meant to distort your understanding of reality in order to benefit the caster. And you can take that into severely evil layers and cause damage emotionally and to the world around you, and create such great instability. Depending on the kind of player you are and the kind of campaign you're in, if you're in a situation where you can do things like that with heavy role playing, this subclass is very good at achieving a lot of different goals. Silvertongue. At 3rd level, you are a master at saying the right thing at the right time. When you make a charisma persuasion or charisma deception check, you can treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. So, what does that really mean? First and foremost, you would probably want to pick expertise and these abilities when you get them as a bard, so that way you double your proficiency bonus. So at 3rd level, I think your proficiency bonus it's still at 2, and that gives you +4. So the lowest you can get before adding your charisma is a 14. And if you have a charisma of 3, which if you point by and you kind of really wanted to focus on that specifically, especially with this subclass, you're not really much of a melee fighter or a striker. You're really just a full caster, so you should have at least a +3 in charisma. So now you're looking at 16, 17, 16. No, 17. Sorry, math is bad. 17 on anything that's basically not a 1. That's the lowest you can get, which is pretty great, all things considered. So you're basically going to almost, this is like the closest way you can guarantee a success in D&D. This is your gambit. This is something you're just awesome with. This makes you reliable. This makes you so deceptive. You can almost pass every deception check with this. You are just so great at lying to people or causing people to see your sides of the thing, or manipulate the circumstance for your benefit, or persuade people to help you that normally wouldn't. Which is great. For role playing, this is awesome. This is just so gnarly. You also gain Unsettling Words. Also at 3rd level, you can spin words laced with magic that unsettle a creature and cause it to doubt itself. As a bonus action, you can expend 1 use of your Bardic Inspiration and choose 1 creature you can see within 60 feet of you. Roll the Bardic Inspiration die. The creature must subtract the number rolled from the next saving throw it makes before the start of your next turn. This is a bonus action. Obviously, you can take your action and bonus action in really any form you want, as long as your action doesn't have to happen in order to trigger your bonus action. So, you cast this, and you cast one of those save or suck spells, or one of those things that's severely debilitating. Like if you have a humanoid and you cast Hold Person. If they have advantage on magical saving throws, this will undercut it. As your Bardic Inspiration dies, so does that minus to it. If there are other things on this creature, like Bane, for example, or something else with a similar effect, they all get added onto it. This will give you the ability to land spells you would never, ever be able to land anywhere else. You will see more things that, like psychic lances that will hit. Like you'll see a lot ending up from this. Again, it's based on your Bardic Inspiration, so you do have to manage that resource with this. But for a disabling spell, for just a heavy hitting spell, for something that you just need to land, this'll do it. This will give you the best opportunity to do it, and it scales with level, which is absolutely amazing. At 6th level, you're going to gain Unfailing Inspiration. Your inspiring words are so persuasive that others feel driven to succeed. When a creature adds one of your Bardic Inspiration dice to its ability check, attack roll, saving throw, and the roll fails, the creature can keep the Bardic Inspiration die. Now, just something about Bardic Inspiration. As you level up, it does increase in its dice size. So that number gets bigger at certain increments. When you reach certain tiers of play, it boosts up. With that in mind, it's important to know that Bardic Inspiration is not just a combat ability. Unsettling Words is a fantastic use of Bardic Inspiration, but sometimes you'll find these adventuring scenarios where you have to make this check, or one person has to make this check, and they might not be the most suitable for it. Giving them Bardic Inspiration makes a big difference. That saving throw for someone in certain scenarios, that could be real big. Saving throws usually tend to be in combat. A little hard to depict when they happen, but if you're entering combat, you're out of healing, and you have a party member that's really low, throw it onto them. It might make a big difference. Attack rolls, I'll be honest, as useful and as often you'll roll attack rolls comparatively to like everything else. I don't think it's really the best use of Bardic Inspiration. I think it's better used on ability checks, saving throws, or Unsettling Words. But that's just my personal thing. If you happen to have a real heavy hitter, like a Barbarian or someone that has great weapon master, and it's crunch time, throwing that on them, giving that bonus to hit, will add a tremendous amount of damage. And the way the game is really organized, you're better at throwing as much damage as you can, as fast as you can, as opposed to mitigating that or making fights go longer. You want to make fights get over quickly as a player. You want to win fast. You want to take as many things off the table as quickly as you can. It can absolutely help in that scenario. Also at 6th level, you get Universal Speech. You've gained the ability to make your speech intelligible to any creature. As an action, choose one or more creatures that within 60 feet of you, up to a number equal to your charisma modifier. The chosen creatures can magically understand you regardless of the language you speak for 1 hour. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot to use it again. This is one of those things that is super advantageous in heavy role-playing games. In a scenario where you're surrounded by people you don't know whatsoever, you can lie and say you would like to read a poem in your native language and share its inspirational words and bestow it upon people, and literally just belt out just a language you're pretty sure nobody in that area speaks, and communicate with your party members so that way they know what the next step is. It's deceptive. It can be very cool and pretty to use in that kind of a scenario. If you're it's very tricky to find a lot of uses for this ability, which is just the truth, as cool as it can be. But in espionage scenarios, it can be very beneficial. If you're finding something that you cannot speak to, maybe you find yourself in a scenario where the only thing around you speaks in deep speech. Like and you don't necessarily have to fight it, or you don't want to fight it, because maybe you've taken a few fights and you're not looking to fight an insane looking dragon or something. This can give you that opportunity to bridge that gap and maybe negotiate your way out of stuff. You have to be super creative in order to find a lot of applicable uses for this, but they can be done. And it can give you certain role-playing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else. But again, it's one of those things that you need to kind of have the right moment for. But again, it's another ability at level 6 that you're also sharing with Unfailing Inspiration, which is a big buff to Bardic Inspiration. And your final ability, Infectious Inspiration. At 14th level, when you successfully inspire someone, the power of your eloquence can now spread to someone else. When a creature within 60 feet of you adds one of your Bardic Inspiration die to its ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and the roll succeeds, you can use your reaction to encourage a different creature other than yourself that can hear you within 60 feet of you, giving it a Bardic Inspiration die without expending any of your Bardic Inspiration uses. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is like a combat domino. You line it up, you put it on someone that's going to hit with an attack roll, and then you can transfer it over, and then transfer it over, and then transfer it over. Usually you're going to have about 5 charisma uses out of this per long rest, because you're a charisma modifier. If you gain certain things that increase your charisma at a higher point, I'm not aware of many items, but they might be in there somewhere, or they might come into fruition later on. That is a great way when you're fighting big bads, when you're fighting areas, dungeon bosses, or whatever it is. That is when you go heavy on this. You will be able to increase the amount of guaranteed hits. You'll be able to, if it's a situation where you're fighting a high-level spellcaster, you'll be able to successfully keep party members up and going to avoid severely damaging spells or debilitating effects. It's such a great use of this ability that it makes the attack roll use of Bardic Inspiration so much better, because it's the easiest thing to keep rotating. And as you rotate it, the person can use it for whatever circumstance they're in. So it changes where they are. It can give them an opportunity depending on what happens after the other person's turn. So it's a huge benefit, and it travels. You know what I mean? It's doubling your uses of Bardic Inspiration, which in and out of itself is a big thing to do, especially when you start to get into use of using it regularly and understanding how beneficial it is to be able to add like a D10 onto a saving throw or an ability check, or you have to leap a chasm or something, and you have that one person that's just terrible at strength and it's not going to survive if it doesn't make that save. Bardic Inspiration, and you might be able to save someone's life. It's cool, and it's very flavorful for the bard, and this really kind of builds up a lot on that. With all that said and done, we're going to bring this video to the close. A Bard of the College of Eloquence gives you a lot of dynamic interaction and face abilities. I love Unsettling Words. You can get those spells to hit that you can never get to hit, and that's very, very big. Keeping in mind you do have the ability to pull spells from other classes because of your core Bard abilities, and that will give you such a wide range of making the most out of Unsettling Words. Your Bardic Inspiration goes forward. It gets better and better, and at 14th level, which is something that you can hit somewhat regularly, like if you did Tyranny of Dragons, especially now that they're now finally releasing level 20 campaigns. There's a lot of great things you can use out of it, and the ability to keep pushing it forward and letting that one Bardic Inspiration go is huge, and it really brings the Bard to the most fullest extent of what a Bard can be based on what the core Bard abilities are. It kind of all works together in this beautiful tapestry of just manipulating and abusing the power of persuasion. That being said, again, thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of the video. It makes a big difference when you do. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button. If you like what we do here, definitely join us on Patreon. The Patreon supporters, what you guys do is amazing. We love you guys. We really, really appreciate it. And a big thank you to our good friends at Critical Failures. Love playing with you guys. We'll be playing every Wednesday, so definitely check in and see what we do. See some of our exciting stuff and terrible things we do to each other. And thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.